Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry. It's Larry Benedict, joined every day by Eric Shamaloff, Monday through Thursday. You can see us live on YouTube and crazy earnings. Everything is intact. I had visions driving in this morning of a market that opens up like this and then completely fails. But that's not the market we're in. Unfortunately, those days are long gone. You can just buy everything and continue to buy and buy more and then buy more. So doesn't matter if your stock has a PE of 40, 50, 60. It doesn't matter if the stock has a market cap of 2 billion, trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5 trillion, 6 trillion. It doesn't matter. And if you mention AI in your profit report and say that you're spending more money on AI, your stock instantly will explode up. So we saw that overnight with the two headline earnings, Meta and Microsoft, both which are in the top five largest companies in the world, extending market caps and valuations 10% plus on the opening, which is something that we haven't seen really since the internet days, where you're having, earnings beat, but it's really kind of irrelevant. And then the stocks are just exponentially exploding up. And it'll be interesting to see, Amazon, I believe, is tonight, and Coinbase. And, I mean,
Apple.
how could Coinbase not be up huge? I mean, they're in AI, they're in crypto, they're in everything. So that'll probably be the same type of thing. Uh, Apple's an interesting one. I think we could start talking about that this morning. I mean, that's been one of the worst performing stocks on the board for the year. And that's because they're not in AI, or they're not as much in AI. So, what do you think tonight? I mean, maybe they throw the kitchen sink and say they're going to spend $250 billion on AI over the next 20 years. That's the big thing
Yeah,
now.
look, I have no idea what those earnings are going to look like, other than I know that second quarter GDP came out yesterday, 3% above estimates, confirming a lot of positively trending soft data, like PMIs and consumer sentiment. So maybe that trickles down, and we saw that yesterday with earnings. Apple, Amazon, big consumer stocks. eBay had a big day yesterday. You and I have been talking about sports collectibles. eBay's becoming the hub, has become the hub for all these sports collectibles trading. That's adding revenue, and
Yeah,
consumer.
that's at least $1 trillion business. I mean, come on. I mean, the numbers. I just sit here and listen. The market is the market, and it's funny because they could take stocks like Microsoft up 10% today, uh, Meta up 10% today, and the S&P is up less than a percent. I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, it's the weirdest thing. What are they selling everything else or not buying? Like, I'm just trying to understand with the kind of move that they esoterically are putting into all of these names, how the market isn't up more than a little percent. You know what I'm saying? So it's becoming harder and harder to move. Now, listen, like I said, Coinbase could have a crazy number today. The stock could be up 50, okay, or down 50 if it doesn't. Um, Amazon will move 5 to 10%. Maybe it won't, but usually it does, right? But the S&P will move 10 handles off that. And that's the weird part of this. It's a absolute, like, I don't know. I'm not even going to use the word bubble, but it's an absolute amazing thing that they could add trillions of dollars in market cap. I mean, they added $1 trillion between the two stocks. They've added $1 trillion in market cap overnight, and the S&P future. I don't think it's going to happen, but it feels like it could be negative on the day. And
Well, we just had a PC inflation report came in a little bit above expectations. And so the macro picture doesn't like the macro picture is forming some storm clouds. I don't know if you saw, I sent you that snapshot of the December Fed fund futures, which have been just tobogganing down. I think the market's throwing in the towel on a rate cut.
Okay,
We've
well,
been
let me ask you this. The market is exploding higher. The Nasdaq's had a 40+ percent move, almost 50% now, which again ranks in history in years in the top three now. Okay, this is what's happened in 2.5 months. Okay, what it, they've been throwing the rate cut out the window for the last 2 months, from four cuts to two cuts to no cuts, and it has zero effect on the market. So, like when you're saying because they're not going to cut rates, there's storm clouds on the horizon. How is that even possible? I mean, what storm? I don't see any. Like, I think the market, whatever the
yeah,
cloud is,
market's
the
going to
market
a
doesn't
taper
care.
at the end of the
The,
year.
the market doesn't care. And
Right
what
now, yeah, well, because you have earnings
And you know what was
that are
interesting? You know what was very interesting yesterday? Usually, like Meta and Microsoft, especially Microsoft, comes at like 4:15 or 4:30. That earning popped on the tape at 4 o'clock exactly. I mean, it was like they pushed up the earnings to try to push the market up. But today could be interesting. Today, you know, we're up a huge amount, and who knows, we got more earnings. Before you turn around, Eric, earnings are going to be out of the way. Like, Nvidia is
right,
in the end of August, but what do we have after this week? Like,
not much. Uh,
right,
okay,
next week is like AMD and Palantir. I mean, on tech. I mean, this is it. So maybe this is as good as we get for the foreseeable future. But who knows? It's the market doesn't want to go down. Nvidia, you would think since they're buying everything else, they would leave Nvidia alone, but they're not. It's up another, not a lot for Nvidia. It moved more yesterday. It's up 2% for the day, but it's now at 184. I mean, top estimates on the street are under $200. Like, what's in this thing now? I know, because it's going to go to 200, then they'll say it's going to 300, and they're going to say, we're blowing 100, we're blowing 1 trillion in market cap like it's water on a monthly basis. So, like we said the other day, Nvidia on the low in April was a $2 trillion company. It's now going to be a $5 trillion company, more than doubling. So, there's just huge wealth effect here. People have made unbelievable amounts of money, more than, because back in the day, before this stuff that's going on, these stocks were very highly, like if you look at Microsoft, for example, Microsoft was a $20 stock for 20 years. Couldn't make money in Microsoft. Now Microsoft is everything. If AI is hot, they're AI. If data centers are hot, it's they've learned to manipulate inside of the market. When Balmer was the CEO, he kind of told the truth, and that's why that stock until he left was kind of stagnant, because he wasn't that concerned with Wall Street. Like the old CEOs weren't that concerned with Wall Street, and the new CEOs are very concerned. When you look at Steve Jobs, or you look at Bomber and all these guys. So we're in an interesting market. Markets are bid. You can just basically sit it out. That's what we're doing. We feel like we've missed most of the move, if not all the move. And it's funny, we haven't gotten short, in S&P since 5,700. We're at 6,500. We're up another 12% in basically under a month. I mean, do you have an idea what is the S&P and Nasdaq up this month? It's got to be huge, just huge. And and it just continues to keep going. So that's what we got here, and currencies. We actually it traded under 114. We got out, so we made 200 points on that. So the trade came to fruition. Um, and a trade that we were talking about yesterday, which I didn't do, and I'm kind of mad, was the yen. I thought the yen was going to go above 150, which it's above 150 as we speak. So dollar strength continues. It's pretty unbelievable what is going on here. And, there's not a lot that anybody can do right now to stand in front of the freight train. So sidestep it. I wouldn't be buying up here. I think it's dangerous. I will give you credit. You've been, somehow under the surface bullish. I don't know if you were long or just bullish, but you've been bullish pretty much the last 300 points. So in S&P, which only took about 2 weeks. So I'll give you credit for that. I didn't see it. I still don't see it. I think here's a
Bank on
question.
crazy. My thesis is bank on crazy. The market does this all the time. Momentum sometimes dominates
Yeah, but
everything
how is
else.
this? But how is this crazy? That's what I'm trying to
And I
explain.
also I've come to realize that a high PE doesn't mean the market is going to drop right away. It means wait for earnings. Earnings need to confirm that PE, which they're doing, and then once all of this is aside, I said earlier, I don't know if you saw yesterday, but those Fed fund futures were just dropping hard yesterday, which means the initial Fed reaction wasn't good. The market was falling on that because bond traders were throwing in the towel on rate cuts.
Right, and
So
bonds are higher this morning. So make
and
what do
the
you make it?
bonds
What do
are
you make
higher
it
this
that?
morning, but it's weird. The Treasuries, yeah, they're higher, but the December Fed fund futures are haven't moved from yesterday much at all.
Yeah, but
So
that doesn't have anything to do with the rates at all. I mean, they're not going to move at all. They basically are telling you they're not cutting, but that has nothing. They could not cut, and the long bond could go to 3.5%. I mean, that's
right,
irrelevant. So, so
that's what I'm
but-
saying. It's irrelevant.
right.
Yeah,
So no,
that's what I'm
nobody.
saying. Treasuries are up today. That's irrelevant. I'm looking at the December Fed fund futures. So I think, look, all of this I've been banking on crazy because
Yeah,
I
but you
I think
keep
I
timeout. I got to call a timeout. Okay. When you say bank on crazy, is this crazy that the S&P is up 96 basis points? What's crazy? Most days we're only up 20 to 50 basis points. How is that crazy? That
mean the
banking on crazy to me is you walk in and the market's up 5%, dislocated, and people are scrambling and whatever. This to me is the now it is crazy. The individual names are absolutely crazy. Okay. Nvidia's had a crazy move, but the market hasn't. I mean, the market, I don't know, what are we up this month for? 3%. I mean, it's still a really good month, but it's not anything. And we haven't had a down week all month. And we didn't have a
is that
down
normal?
week.
Is
We haven't
that
had
normal?
a down week in the market since June, the week of June, like 10th. So,
There you go.
I mean, right, but we're only up 4% in that time. So that's less than quarter, half a percent a week. I mean, I don't, we were at 5,900, 6,000. We're up 8%, maybe 7% in the last 2 months. I mean, that's a great move. That's a great year, but it's not anything crazy. And I think that we're going to run into trouble here. I just do. I think coming out of earnings season, I'm going to look to put on some puts today, especially if we show some weakness after the opening. I haven't done that in about a month and a half. Maybe just a little bit, sprinkle some stuff in. But my trading, believe it or not, what's really kind of crazy is my trading has become so much better, so much better. We've had wins in currencies, we've had wins on bonds, we've had wins on every single basic week in the last. Here's what's funny: we're up 6 weeks in a row, and the LSP spread trader product for the opportunistic trader is up every single week and hasn't had a losing trade in 17 trades. So, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like we're at a decent level here for sure. Um, and I'm thinking once we get out of earnings season, what are they going to be banking on? So that's just my thesis. I mean, I would like to see, what you call crazy day today. I don't
I don't know why you're picking on that crazy. You and I have talked about this market being. You've told me that this market is crazy a million times. Now it's not
No,
crazy.
I'm not, dude.
No pullback whatsoever.
You're using. Listen to me. You're using a word. Okay, crazy to me is like wild. To me, this is the
Okay.
opposite of wild. What is crazy? Crazy is that we're just crazy. It is crazy. We're going up pretty much every day. That's
You don't
crazy.
think that reaction yesterday to the upside wasn't crazy? Of
What
course it
react?
was. It was a microcosm of
What reaction? What
It's
reaction are you talking about?
you had the market down on the ropes, okay, on a
Ropes? Whoa,
macro.
whoa, whoa, ropes. We were down 20 spool handles on the day. That's the ropes to you.
You thought it was going down to stop.
Dude, Eric, I'm not saying whether I thought it was going down. We're talking about what a crazy move is. And the moves that we're having are not crazy moves. Today, a crazy move is you open up 50 and go down on the day and then, close in the hole. That's a crazy move. Okay. That's a move that wakes people up, that they realize they can't have free money all the time. Okay. That's a crazy move. Okay. Let's look at
What about 5 months? No, how about 5 months of trend, no pullback? Is that crazy?
no. I
No.
don't I no. I don't think listen, I think when I think of trading day listen to me. When I think of crazy trading or crazy trading days, I think of days that are just wild where your head is spinning, you can't see what's going on. Going back a year ago to the Fed meeting when the S&P went down 250 points and you said four standard deviations, that's crazy. This is not crazy. This is contrived rig. This is just a contrived rig. They can continue to buy because the market keeps going up. So they're going to continue to buy, continue to buy, continue to buy until further notice. So that's what I'm seeing. And you
Yeah,
could
I
call
think I
you
think
could
it
call
continued.
that crazy. We're talking on just a word. The word could be determined any way. But for me as a trader for 40 years, crazy is where I sit at my desk and I've done it before and go, holy shit. Okay. This is unbelievable. That's crazy. Okay. You're like,
Give me a holy shit moment for you in your career.
there's been a lot of them. I mean,
First
listen,
one that pops to mind. Just give it to me.
listen. There's something that no one even knows is existed in the market right now. It's called limit down. Okay. But for years and
Last time
years,
we had that was on COVID. I remember.
oh, I don't even think we went limit down on COVID.
We
Actually,
did.
I'm going to check it.
Overnight, we went it down a couple of
But
times.
that's
Yeah.
not the full limit down. That's just the first curve.
Oh,
We hit the
yes.
first curve. So when I look at crazy, okay, and I look at markets that are moving and very different than this contrived rig of just going up every day, buying Nvidia every day. Yeah, that is crazy, but that's not market crazy. So I'll tell you crazy. Crazy is being limit up, okay, and limit down in the same day. We've had days like that, okay? We've had days where, first of all, my assistant, it wasn't touchdown Tommy because he wasn't born yet. He's a product of the environment. He's,
Like me,
born
we're both
in 90.
products of
Well,
the
no,
environment.
you're a little older than him, but not a lot. But you've never seen limit up, limit down. You've never seen lock limit where, you've never seen any, no one has ever seen anything. So when you want to talk about crazy, crazy is me walking into my office every day, turning to my assistant and saying to the guy, hey, what's limit down today? What's limit down? Every day we had a no limit down because at
Wow.
limit down you can't trade. So that's
Wow.
crazy. This is
Yeah,
this
that
is
is crazy. That
this
would
is
be
a
crazy.
less, dude. That's a 6% move in a day. We
When
had
was
way
that? What
many
year?
of those.
What era? What year was that? where
I
you were
mean,
at?
yeah, I mean that was in the '80s, the '90s, and maybe into the
It was
beginning of
probably
the
like
2000s.
'98, right, when the currency thing happened.
Whatever. Listen, we had trading. There is no trading anymore. This is pure algorithmic rigging. Okay. The bottom line is, it is. You're shaking your head. You're going like this. You're going like
No, I'm,
that.
I'm, I'm thinking, I'm agreeing. Yeah, a lot of. Look, the moves are dominated intraday by zero DTE. So, I mean, there's a lot. Algos come in and do a lot of things to manipulate. We know that, right? So, yeah, I'm shaking my head in agreement, 100%.
Oh,
You there? What happened?
yeah. I don't know. Was it me or you? Something happened. I don't know. But I'm back. If it was me, I'm back. So maybe
Did you?
wait a second. You know what? Maybe that
Glitch
aligned.
on me today, man. I need you today. Do not glitch on
Listen
me
to me.
today.
Maybe that aligned with the gods out there hearing me talking about limit down and the rig and everything else, that they got a little crazy and unplugged us. But we're back and we're telling the story. And the
There's
story
only one,
is,
my man. Only one.
there's literally, I'm not going to use the word crazy. You use the word crazy. I don't like that word. Crazy to me is markets in high volatility that are moving back and forth, and there's trading. And it's funny. Yesterday, I looked at my position pad, and I was like the lightest that I've ever been in my life. Like, we barely traded until the end of the day yesterday. There was nothing going on, zero. And then the market, like you said, had a cataclysmic crash of $20. Okay, literally, that was the crash. Went down like $30, and then the market came back, and then the earnings. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're
Come on,
adding.
say it. They were great. Earnings were great.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you
Yes,
this.
they were.
Earnings are great, okay, if that's what you think, how great they were.
Again,
Okay. After
and by the way,
after stocks,
all
wait,
the, all the
after
BS narrative
Eric, Eric,
out the window,
Eric,
right?
after stocks have okay, so Nvidia is coming with earnings in August. The stock will be tripled, okay? They're looking for, I don't even know the number, but I'm making it up. They're looking for $2 a share. They're not getting $2 a share. They're getting five because they've never upped the number. And then it comes in five and they go, oh, it's an amazing number, but the stock has tripled. So it's really strange how you're looking at this stuff in my mind. I mean, it's the markets have moved insane. Okay. The stocks have moved insane. And yes, the numbers are beating the lowered numbers that they never raised during the quarter. An analyst special. Okay. That's an analyst special. And they're saying, every company's saying they're spending fortunes in AI. Why is that good? Why is that good that they're spending fortunes in AI? Why? How do they know what AI is going to pan out to be? I mean, right now it's nothing. I mean, it is barely
Forget about
bringing.
all that. Forget about all that. Just look at the dollars and cents. The earnings were great. What they're going to do and CapEx and AI, it doesn't matter. They're coming out with earnings that are beating
Okay, but
constantly.
aren't we as Wall Street?
The
Aren't we
market
as
is going
Wall
to
Street?
gravitate towards growth.
Good. Listen to me. I've been mellow and I'm getting angry.
You've
I'm
been
going to come
mellow. This
on.
is
We're,
mellow.
we're not going to be on tomorrow, but what are you going to say when the market goes down on the day today? Okay. Then what are you going to say? Earnings were great. Our
I'm going
business
to say
is
I was
to
short, man.
analyze, Eric.
I'm
Our
actually
business.
I'm actually tilted short right now.
Oh boy, that doesn't make me happy. Ay, ay, ay.
No,
Well,
it should
yeah,
make
well,
you
you'll be in for
ecstatic.
like 5 points, so
It should make
I'm
you
good.
ecstatic.
You'll be getting out when I'm getting in. But
Okay,
needless to
all
say,
right.
this is what I don't understand. And this is you being product of the environment. Okay. This is not about this earnings. When they're buying stocks today, they're buying it looking at what's going to be moving forward. We're always buying, buying the rumor and selling the news. I mean, that's what traders do. Okay. So again,
Mhm.
now Microsoft is put in a spot, or Meta, that they have to redo what they just did and even more. So I'm thinking it's going to be hard for them to do that. And The bottom line is, yeah, the stocks have run. They're unbelievable, and it's easy to run. Listen, Microsoft is the second biggest company in the world. It's ran 10% today. There are guys holding 5 billion shares of stock. They don't want to sell a share. It's a bizarre. I'm telling you, this is a bizarre thing. Bizarre. And you might see some selling today because today is the end of the month. Okay, it's not a big quarter, but it's the end of the month, and now people who had 2 billion in Nvidia have 4 billion in Nvidia. And maybe they don't want to hold 4 billion in Nvidia, because it's outside the weighting of what they're even allowed to hold as the charter of their entity. So I think you might see some selling later. I mean, I don't, listen, you can't get excited about anything because the market's just a slow grind up. But I'd be interested to know. I mean, I looked yesterday in Nasdaq; it's up 40.
Straddle's a little high, by the way. If we're talking about trading today, Straddle looks a little high right now, right? What is it? I'm looking at the 64.15. It's at 28.
Okay,
Straddles 28. We haven't seen above 20 at the open
Eric,
for
we're
quite
up.
a while.
We're up 100 days in a row. We're up 4 months in a row. We're up 45% now on Nasdaq off the low. I don't know. When are you going to sell? Never. That's the thing.
But
I
why,
mean,
why is there any particular reason the straddle is higher
month end,
today?
month end. It's what I just said to the audience. Basically, you should see reweightings on a lot of names because Microsoft went up 20% in the quarter. You now own 20% more of an allocated number. You got to get
Yeah,
down.
but all these reweighting indexes, a lot of them are just closet momentum indexes. So your market cap goes
No,
up,
they're
they're
chart.
going
No,
to
but
add more weight to it.
their chart. A lot of these firms have charters. They can't hold more than 8% in one stock. There's a million different charters that they have to abide by, and when a stock has a massive move, they have to reduce positions. They're still
I
going
don't
to
know.
have the same dollar weighting.
Indexes that will just add actually more weight to the outperformers because their market caps have gone up, and a lot of these indices are market cap weighted.
Dude, we're talking about people that have positions, okay? And the positions have to be, dude, you'll see. Then you tell me why the straddle's 28. Nothing's going on.
I hope. I don't know. I'm asking you. Why is the
And I'm
straddle
telling
higher
you, and you're
today? But
telling me that's not it. I'm telling you, it has
trying
to
to get
do. It has to do with money managers paring back their allocations because the weightings have gone. Their cash weightings have gone outside the parameters of what they're allowed to hold. They're at the max long level, but they can't hold it. You listen. If I'm a hedge fund, think about this. I'm a hedge fund. I can't have more than 5% of my book in one stock. Okay. So I have 4% of my book in NVIDIA. Right now, I have 6.5% of my book in NVIDIA. I can't have that. I have to get down. I'm violating the charter of my entity. So when you ask why the straddle is so high, I think there's two reasons. One, this is a ridiculously absurd opening. Okay. Especially after, last night, but it's the same story that we've seen month in and month out. And then the question is, Nvidia is up another 4 or 5. I mean, come on. Wait, I'm going to give this to you. Okay. What market cap do you think Nvidia is? It going to go to 10 trillion, 20? What? It's like made up, dude. That's a bubble, dude. When we get to 4, they say 5. When we get to 5, they say 6. When you're supposed to sell your stock at 120 and it's at 120 and you say it's going to 140 and it goes to 140 and you don't sell, these are all bubble things. Okay. I'm not saying the bubble is popping today, but this bubble probably is popping before the end of the year. I really believe that. I think
well, we're in the same camp. Then I think we're gonna have. But it's not going to be because earnings are bad. It's not going to be because of tariffs and all these ridiculous narratives that never pan out. It's going to be what it always is: the market versus the Fed. That's what it's going to be, a taper tantrum, just like always.
Disagree.
And by the way, the
I
PC
think,
came in hot.
how can it be a taper tantrum? I don't understand. It's already they're pricing in that he's not doing anything. So where's the tantrum?
The tantrum is in the fact that he's not. Well, it's not a. You're correct. It's not going to be a taper tantrum, but the market's going to be looking for lower rates, and he's. I don't think he's going to be giving it to them.
Can I ask you something? Has the market gotten lower rates
He
really?
even said yesterday he may have to raise rates.
Can,
Right?
can I say something? I don't think that's going to happen, especially this year. But
You
my
need that.
question to you, okay, is the market has gone up 45% in Nasdaq off the low, and rates haven't been touched. Okay, haven't been touched. The only thing that has happened is that he's gotten more hawkish, which he should be. Listen, I'm sure they're sitting there going, "This market is crazy. This market is at a crazy level. Da 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 da. We got to be cautious." Listen, the Fed usually, I would say 99% of the time that I've seen in my career, the Fed only acts when the market crashes or the market has a big correction. Fed doesn't act. Maybe they'll throw you a quarter point here or there, but the Fed doesn't fully act, okay, until the market is tattered. And that's the truth. And he talked yesterday, which I thought was really weird. They asked him a question and he answered like something like the same thing he always says, like the tools, we'll use the tools in our toolbox. I mean, what is that? Like he's going to buy equities? I mean,
I hate. I hate when people say "tool in the toolbox."
that's what he
I'm like,
says. That's what he
you're a tool.
says.
Yeah,
But
I know.
my thought is, I mean, listen, I mean, the markets are just so out of control, frothy. I mean, Nvidia is up
You
another.
want to see crazy, Larry? You want to see crazy? Check this out. We talked a lot about crazy today. Here's crazy. Check out copper. Okay, this is all because of the arbitrage created from all these policy maneuvers by Trump in and out. Right. So he tariffs copper 50%. What is it? July 8th. Copper goes up 17% from the low to the high. Okay. LME copper here down in the lower panel is dropping on that news, right? Because you have the arbitrage, and that arbitrage is in effect. And then yesterday he goes, "I'm excluding refined copper," and copper had the worst day in history, down 25% from peak to trough. 25%.
Right,
That's
but
pretty
here,
crazy. If you're caught long,
right,
you're
but
destroyed.
that is an
Destroyed.
example. But that is an example. Okay, that's really good to show that because that's an example of what happens, and it happens in the equity market, but not to that extent. That's what we'll see when the market actually comes off a significant amount here, which we believe at the opportunistic trader that it will. Okay, what happens is you said they had a trade, everyone had the arbon with the London copper against this that the market knew the positions and they blow people out of the water. The same thing happened, I don't know if you remember, I think this was in the, I don't remember the year when they took the dollar peg off the Swiss franc and they took Everest Capital out of business of five. They lost 5 billion in a day because they side positions. So here, everybody had this Arbon, I guess, and they were feeling really comfortable, and then they blew people out of the water. And it's the same thing. That's what I'm not understanding about like our market. It is happening in individual stocks, okay? But it's not happening in the broad market. Even in the move like today, which is an outsized move, it's only 1%. The S&P is up 1%. Big, not even big deal. I mean, is that a big deal? You got Microsoft up 10, you got Meta up 13, you got this stock up, and then my friend was like, this is the biggest bubble I've ever seen. Look at the quantum computing stocks. Like, I don't follow them at all, and I don't know if you do, but I hear they're off the chart. They're crazy. That's crazy. Okay. So you're seeing, speculation all across the markets. And you know, it's, what's interesting though, I'll tell you what's interesting here.
I had a friend call me yesterday. He's not a professional trader. Smart guy though.
Dude, no
He's
one's
like,
a professional trader that's making money. I feel like I call myself a professional trader, but I probably shouldn't be.
"Stop, we're doing fine.
Yeah,
Stop.
whatever.
You know you're doing fine. You're not making what you want to make
No,
in
I
this market,
mean, you know what?
but
I
we're. I think we're handling it just fine." So he calls me up, right? And he's a smart guy. I love him to death. One of my best friends from childhood, even, right? And but he's not a pro. He's not a professional trader. He's like, "Oh, what do you think of this stock? This stock? This stock? This stock?" I'm like, and my answers mostly were, "I don't know. I've never traded it." And he's trying to, take positions into earnings.
my
And he,
advice that I
and
would
he's
tell.
just buying these calls. He never traded these companies. Doesn't know anything about them. And listen, up a lot of money, and that's pretty rampant speculation.
The bubble is out there, but it's not
But,
popping.
but you
But
have certain market environments where you can do that and actually print money. You don't have to. You could keep it simple. You don't have to think too hard. And I think that's the beauty of retail traders is that they just, they'll just ride that trend until it's over.
yeah, but let me back up to when the advent of sort of the retail trader. I mean, they've always been retail traders. They had to have more money than what the retail trader has now. But let's back up to like COVID and GameStop and AMC. And you know what happened? That stuff was frothy for 3, 4, 5 months. That was crazy trading. Okay. That's crazy. Okay. This is the farthest thing from crazy in my mind. Crazy is taking GameStop to $650 pre-market and then having the government have to come in to save Citadel and make everything closing only. That's crazy. Okay, those are crazy. This is the farthest thing from crazy so far that I've seen. It's a
What do you
market
think
that
about gold here, Larry? What do you think about gold?
um, we actually got long a little gold down at the level that we liked.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I sold put options lower than the market. They're going to go to zero, so I'll collect the money. But overall, I think it's consolidating here. But I just want to get back to the retail trading thing. So the advent of the retail trader with not a lot of money came in COVID. Okay, they all got involved in GameStop, AMC. They were heroes for a very short time, and then they got destroyed. And I don't know if you realize this, but about a year and a half went by that the retail traders kept trying to trade and kept trying to make money, and they kept losing and losing, and AMC went to $2 and they kept losing and losing, and then guess what? It went away. It literally disappeared for at least a year to 2 years of having any craziness. And now what the retail trader has discovered, okay, is you can buy Nvidia every day because hedge funds don't have a problem being long Nvidia. They think Nvidia is like we talk about the AT&T of the old days. It's like guaranteed winner that pays a dividend. So now what they've done is they've taken their speculation from the crazies to the stocks that everybody in their portfolios own, money managers, hedge fund managers, and they're just adding and adding and adding on. And this will not end well. What were the stocks in the 60s? I forgot. They were
The
like
nifty 50.
yeah. So it's the same thing. They were buying 50 stocks and it worked. It worked for a little while and then it destroyed everyone. And the same thing is going to happen here. Like, I just don't know how you can have $150 billion move in Nvidia every morning, every day. It's adding more market cap than 95% of all companies out there on a daily basis. A daily basis. Like Procter and Gamble is a piece of garbage. Like what's the cap? I'm going to look up the market cap. Procter and Gamble has been around forever. Okay, they're in everything. We'll go to the market cap. 300 billion. Okay, Nvidia is on track to have more market cap put in there today than the value of Procter and Gamble on a day where they don't even have earnings, they don't have anything. If you add yesterday and today, they've added more market cap. That doesn't make you a little worried? I mean, that makes you, and wait, this is a chip company, okay? It does obviously a lot of other things, but it's really based on chips. This is all based on how many chips they're going to sell. And this is the most commoditized business in the world. There is no bigger commodity. And they're banking. You want to talk about banking on crazy? They're banking on crazy. They're banking on China's buying every chip they make. They're going to sell this. It's never going to slow down. To me, that's banking on crazy. And the moves that we're having are just insane. They're insane. The market, they make a joke. They're like, oh yeah, Microsoft joins the club of 4 trillion, right? Microsoft was like 2.5 trillion 2 months ago or less. It was under 2 trillion. I mean, it's added 130%. Okay, I know you're telling me their earnings are amazing. Okay, they're amazing, whatever. They're not amazing to add more market cap than the Japanese stock market. I mean, I'm tired of talking about it, and I'm sure people are tired of listening. I just want to, clue everyone in and keep everybody prepared. And then to throw icing on the cake, like you're saying, bank on crazy. I know I'm hitting you on this crazy thing, and I apologize, but I like it. Like the S&P is up 80 basis points. That's crazy. What's crazy about that? Now,
Not much.
right?
Not
It's
much.
not. It's not a lot. Okay, it's not a lot. But
But but
you know what's
how
crazy?
much are we up from the low? Like 30-40%? That's not.
No, the S&P is probably up 30% from the low, and the
Yeah, your
Nasdaq
boy
is up
Thomas. What's up,
45.
Thomas? He just sent me a text. It took 14 years for the S&P to gain 30% from 1966 to 1980.
And we
Uh,
did that in 2 months.
and we did that in 14 weeks.
Right.
That's not
Okay.
crazy.
That's not a bubble, baby.
Bank on it. Hey,
No, but you only said the.
it's not a bubble because, yeah, I know P's are high. I know retail is buying stuff that they never heard of. I get it.
So then,
But
what? Let me ask you this. Let's
earnings,
sidestep this,
baby, market loves growth.
dude. Let's
There's a lot of
sidestep
growth.
this. Let's sidestep this for a second. Okay. What is a bubble? What, like, I know what a bubble is in my mind,
Bubble
and
is
I see it,
when
and I see it.
something pervades society. That's one criteria. When it's dislocated
What do
from
you mean they need
fundamentals.
society? What does that mean? They have society. My
When it
mother's my
pervades,
mother is
pervades
long.
society.
My
That's
mother is long
when the
Nvidia.
taxi cab driver is talking about NVIDIA. When
They
the
are.
waiter.
They are. So
Right,
what do
but
you
that's
mean?
one criteria. You also need a dislocation in fundamentals.
I don't think you
Do
need
we have that?
dislocation in the fundamentals at all. I think you need sided
Right, so
positions.
then it's not a bubble.
I disagree. Okay. I don't think you need you price will determine the bubble. Okay. The bubble can keep, listen, I'm sitting there. I got 4 pieces of bazooka in my mouth. I'm blowing this big bubble. It's beautiful. I'm touching. I don't know if you guys remember when you were a kid, you're touching the outside of the bubble. It feels freaking,
Dude,
it,
don't
it
go there.
feels,
This is getting weird, man. Come
no,
on.
dude, it feels perfect. And then all of a sudden it pops on your face. Okay. And you don't know why. And then you get bummed out and you try to build that same bubble again and you can never do it. You can, yeah. And this is the perfect bubble. Okay. Now, when you say people are not involved or everybody's talking about the market. The
Yeah,
one thing I
yeah.
want to, the one thing I want to throw in here that is very weird. Okay. Crypto, which is the speculation of the speculation, hasn't rallied here at all. We've rallied another 5% in S&P, and the thing has not moved. It has not
It's
gone
just
up.
taking a break.
You would
It's just
think
taking.
you would think that this thing would be 25, 30,000 at least. And it feels to me that it could come in if the market comes in. But here's what I would say: S&P's up like 50 handles, 50 plus. It's not even a percent. if we get down about $20, $25, then I'm going to get aggressive in here and I'm going to put a short on. And I think once these earnings get out of the way and they're out of the picture, I think it's going to create opportunity. And listen, the first part of the
Okay, once earnings are gone, how much do you think it's going to be a 10% drop or maybe a 2%? I think it's going to be no more than a 2 to 3% like pullback.
bro, listen to
Like,
me.
do you think it's going to be 10%?
We're at minute 48 on this podcast, and I want the powers to be uh, at MarketWise to circle this time and make sure that we play this. We could have a 2% correction today, dude. You are a built-in product of this environment. I'm just telling you. I mean, literally, why can't we correct today? Like, why can't this is the perfect opening to sell? It makes no sense. We had two good earnings. They're ripping the market. They're ripping the face off the market, and everybody is so complex. Dude, no one wants to sell Nvidia. They didn't want to sell it at 170. They don't want to sell it at 180. They're not going to sell it at 190. When are they going to sell it, Eric? Never. It should go up forever.
You think we're going to retrace the whole move from today?
I
The
don't
whole
think.
move
I do not think that.
in one day.
Well, listen. I think it's utterly possible. I think it's
Earnings are
utterly
coming up
possible.
today. The market
Okay.
just saw what happened last night. You think they're ready to let
Yeah, but
go?
the same thing never happens. The same thing never happens twice. Okay, so I mean, Amazon beating the number.
I'm thinking Iron Condor today. Is that not a good thought? You're saying
That's
Iron
not a good,
Condor
not
today?
a good thought. Not a good thought.
40 points out in both directions? No?
How do you get 40? Oh, you're not going to get a lot for that. I don't know what you're going to get for
What are you
that.
talking?
I'm not
63.75,
touching it. I think the market could bank on a little
450,
trade. Dude,
240.
listen. You literally just came on this podcast and said that you think the correction, when it happens, is only going to be 2%.
This
we,
summer.
we rallied more
We're,
than
this
2% this
summer.
week.
This summer. The bigger one's coming in the fall.
Okay, dude. Absolutely no chance. Okay. We could go down 2% today. What fundamental is holding the market up at this level? That's what I know. The earnings are amazing, but as traders, we're forward looking. This already happened. I don't know why you're not seeing it. That already happened.
I see it.
No,
I
you don't.
mean, okay, so it's like in baseball, right? You have a great year, you hit 40 home runs, steal 40 stolen bases, 350 average, right? You're going to get paid for prior performance on
All
your
right.
next
I'm
contract.
just going to ask you this, and then we're going to wrap because we're really going late here and we're about 12 minutes from the opening. I want everybody to be ready. I'm going to get aggressive if the market sells off 25 S&P points. So at the 64.25 area, I'm going to short. I'm not going to short right now off the opening. I'm going to wait for it to come in 15. Maybe I'll do it at 30. But I mean, this is crazy. My question to you is why is no one selling Nvidia at any price? Why? Like, why? Like, my question is, you know
You
what?
answered your own question today. Retail has learned that you could just buy NVIDIA and the hedge funds are cool with it.
Let me ask you this. Has retail ever made money in the history of the stock market over a period of a year? And I would say the answer is pretty much no. Okay. So our retail customers and the people that mentor with us and subscribe to us, the beauty of what we do is we try to keep everybody sane, handhold, and get them to take profits. Okay. But over periods of time, maybe it lasts a year. This is a little outside. This is 2 years. Okay. But in 2022, you forget this. We were buying everything. Okay. And all my friends that are now long every stock and won't sell anything were blowing up. Blowing up. Guys were calling me going, what do I do? I'm long Facebook. It's $90 a share. Facebook's now 800. It's gone up tenfold in 2 years. And they don't want to sell a share. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. And you know what they say? They don't want to sell because they don't want to pay taxes. I always wanted to pay taxes. If I paid millions in taxes, what does that mean to you? I made millions. Okay. So the bottom line is make your money, pay your taxes and move on. The problem is they can't move on. They're unprofessional. If they sell Nvidia at 170 and it goes to 180, they're sitting and crying. You were like that when you first started with me. You would. Oh, Netflix! It was ridiculous. Every day we were talking about Netflix when you sold it and it went higher. You can't look back. Be careful. All I'm saying to you is you're banking on crazy, and like the S and what's the S&P up 50 handles? I mean, that's not even a percent. I mean, literally the S&P from yesterday's low to now rallied 100 points. What's crazy about coming in 50 points?
We're
I don't
getting
know.
closer. We're getting closer to where bears are at max. Like, you know,
Are there any bears?
there's some. When there are none, that's when it's gonna be time.
Eric, there are no bears. They're letting Nvidia go to the moon. Nobody's standing in front of it. I sold an Nvidia call spread 67. I'm sorry, 77 half 80 call spread. Okay, which is now at a maximum loss. But you know what I did against it? I sold a bunch of puts and I put the position on where now I can't even really lose money, but I actually have exposure to the downside. Lower than where we are now. We have to come in $8 in 2 days, which anything's possible. But you're looking at you're just looking at markets that are, they're just crazy. They're actually crazy. They're not crazy to trade, but they're just crazy how we can't have a down day. We literally they can't, dude. We were down on Tuesday. I don't know if you remember this. We were down on Tuesday, and literally out of nowhere, at the end of the day, they turned the S&P positive 80 cents. And I called you up. I'm like, another positive day. Like, we haven't had a down day this. We haven't
That
had a
was
down day
actually
this
funny.
week, or
That was
probably
actually
last
funny.
week.
Like how they managed to get the S&P up exactly 1 point
Yeah,
was
I mean,
you gotta take your hat off to the algo,
but
and you gotta
I don't think the
tip your
story of
hat. Good job, guys.
I don't think the story of this week has been written. Okay, I think that we're gonna get
Oh
some
yeah,
action.
tomorrow's the taco deadline. No,
Nah, that's fake. He's, whatever. I know. He did a deal with South Korea. Like, dude, he's done 4 deals with bogus countries. I mean, come on. It's crazy. That's not even in the
hey,
market.
wait a second. I know you bash old Trumpy bear. I know you like to do it, but 3% GDP last quarter.
Okay. You
Okay.
know what? If it was 2%, he'd blame Biden. So is it Biden that did it or him? He's only been in for 3 months. So anyway, we're deep. I'm not even gonna let you close. There's 6 minutes to the 8 minutes to the opening. Everyone get ready. Watch for downside. If the market turns here, I'm gonna get aggressively short for trade into earnings tonight and into the taco deadline. We will not be with you tomorrow. It's my AMA. Hopefully, you're writing into feedback at the Opportunistic Trader with any questions you may have. And I wish everyone great trading today and good luck.